In this video, we're going to be talking about the design for our game so that you're very clear on what we're creating in this section of the course. I'm going to talk about the theme and core mechanic that I'm going for in my game, and I'm going to challenge you to select your own theme. Let's start by having a look at the gameplay screen. I always recommend when you've got a game design you're coming up with, always start with the game screen, start with visuals. People often think it's all about creating a huge document. It's about images and pictures and visuals. So here's our game screen that we'll be implementing. Let me just get my pointer here. Implementing in this section, we'll be putting in a game title using text. We'll also be adding the core story text, and we'll be creating scriptable objects that will display the story text and also display the options that the player can take. So in the game here, here's some stuff that's going on, and you'll see in a moment I've got a steampunk theme for my game. Here's the text, and then what should I do? Option 1, option 2. So it is a good old-fashioned choose your own adventure that we're working through here. Let's talk about the core aspects of our game design. The player experience, we're looking for a feeling of discovery. How do we want the player to feel when they're playing our game? Is to discover our world, to discover what's going on. What's our core mechanic? Well, it's a choose your own adventure. It's where we give someone information, then say, would you like to go left or go right? Do you want to punch the guard or run away? So that's a choose your own adventure. The theme is steampunk. Why is it steampunk? Well, I put up on Facebook 4 hours ago a quick question in terms of this course. We're remastering this particular section. Which of the following would you like me to have as our theme? Steampunk, medieval, Ben waking from a coma, which I thought was particularly funny, futuristic, or prison break, which was what was in the original course in this section, and overwhelmingly the vote was for steampunk. I don't know a lot about steampunk, so this has been a really cool example of often if you're a designer on a games team or a game developer in general, you'll have something that you might not know a lot about, and then those boundaries help you make a product, help you make a game. The other point I wanted to make is that you're making a game for someone else. So if you were to say, Prison Break, the greatest sort of game ever, and it's a lot less popular than steampunk, well, if you make it a steampunk game, more people will be interested in it. So just a point that try to make your game for someone else and listen to other people when it comes to your game. And the core game loop for this game, the player is shown text on what is happening in the world and given 1 to 3 choices on how to progress. I like to make sure we're very clear on this is exactly what our core game loop is. The story hooks, and you can see here I've got some steampunky kind of images. We're going to talk just very quickly about the story and theme. We're not making a gigantic game here. You're more than welcome to go on and make this into a full game, but I'm just making a game moment. So just a couple of minutes of gameplay that I'm looking to make. But we need to know, who is the player? Well, he's an injured airship pilot. This is his airship. Technically, it's a handbag that I found on the internet, but it's a pretty cool handbag, huh? I wouldn't mind flying around in that sort of handbag. It's pretty neat. And, you know, something like this guy, steampunk, it's all these kind of gadgetries and steamy, robotic-y, function-y parts. You can tell I'm an expert in steampunk, but I know enough about it. I know the essence of it, so I know enough to go on with that. For you in your game, you might have, I don't know, you might do something that's the Wild West, or you might do something that is Game of Thrones inspired. Totally up to you. What is our setting? Well, it's a small city under siege. What is the threat? The Festers. I've come up with these people, the Festers. They're gangs of desert-dwelling scum. That's, you know, they're the enemies. Think a little bit of Mad Max, Road Fury Road, Beyond the Thunderdome, whichever one of those is most appropriate. But, you know, the people who live out in the desert and they band together and they make guns and stuff out of all the scraps they find that are discarded from the city. What's the goal for the player? To get airborne. So as I was saying, I'm making a game moment, just a few minutes of a game, and the goal that we were communicating to the player is get airborne. And then if that works, if people like the game, if we show it to players and they're like, this is pretty cool, then we can make a lot more before that, we can make a lot more after that. But for now, I don't want to get overcomplicated. I could spend a week writing the most incredible story and backstory and world, but people might not actually be interested in what I'm coming up with, so I need a moment to show folks and to see if they're interested in it. So that's some of the game design, game development philosophy that I'm trying to share with you guys there. And here's the challenge: to create your own, choose your own adventure. That's what this stands for. Choose your own adventure design. What is your game theme? So I want you to come up with a theme. It could be steampunk like me. You could do one of the other ones. I'd love if someone did the Ben waking up from a coma after 10 years. And, you know, I'm very interested to see what the students have done and what the world is like. And I think that would be hilarious. So if you want to create that, that'd be really cool. You could do whatever you want: futuristic, militaristic, just Dungeons and Dragons, whatever you would like to do. What is an image that sums up your game theme? So as I've gone and grabbed a couple of images here, it really helps you get into the mind space of, oh, okay, that's the little story I'm going to put together. Who is the player and what is the goal? So they're the 4 aspects that I'd like you to take on as a challenge. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You can just be like, okay, that's good enough. That's great. But if you want to flex your designer muscles, here's a good chance for you to really think about it and to work on something that you are personally passionate about and also that you think others might like. And as a conclusion to this challenge, please share with our community in the community forum what you have come up with. Share your image, share your theme, share a couple of sentences on what it is you're up to. So that is our game design. That's the direction we're shooting in. Great work. Jump into the challenge now. When you finish your challenge, then dive into the next video.